Okay, boys and girls, today is January 25th, 2021. So please write that down. January 25th, 2021. Do you have a notebook? So January 25th, 2021, write day 20 on there. Write day 20. Day 20. Characters change over time. That is what we're writing about today. That's what what our focus is today. How sometimes in stories, characters change over time. Characters change over time. And we're not going to put a page number, but we're just going to put in that entry of characters change over time. So go ahead and turn to page 15. Page 15 in our book, in this book here, and go to where it says collect evidence. Our list that we made, where we talked about how war has, all this evidence is really clues of what the author is teaching us. The author is trying to teach us that war hurts. We shouldn't be fighting with our own family. And if we do have a problem, we should not do it with war, but we should talk about things and settle things peacefully. Everyone say peacefully. Peacefully. If you're at home, say peacefully. Peacefully, yes. Solving problems peacefully. We know so far war has hurt so much that Grandpa Jack is tired after Peter turns on the alarm clock at 3 a.m. Peter gets slapped. Oh, wait. Peter is hurt after Grandpa Jack slaps his cheek. He slapped him across the face, and now that really hurt Peter. And because of that, Peter no longer trusts his grandpa. He no longer trusts his grandpa. Both Grandpa and Peter are being mean to each other. Grandpa stole his Monopoly pieces. And because of that, now we see that war causes even Peter and his friends to get in a fight. They got in a fight with each other because they were talking smack about their grandpa, about Peter's grandpa, and Peter didn't like that. And so now they were kind of fighting. They were kind of butting heads. So today I'm going to teach you that good readers pay close attention to how the main character in the story changes. Boys and girls, we read the other day. We read the other day that Peter, he is changing because now he's defending his grandpa. At first he was like, oh, he's this and he's that. He's mean. He's a mean old grandpa. He took my room, blah, 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 blah. But remember, now that somebody else is attacking his grandpa, like Steve and Billy, his friends, now Peter is like, wait a minute, that's my grandpa. Don't talk about my grandpa like that. My grandpa is not this, he's not that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to my grandpa. He's defending his grandpa. That's a change. And so in realistic fiction, in this, because this book here is a realistic fiction book, sometimes characters change. And I think that was the first sign that Peter's starting to change a little bit. Because now he's defending his grandpa. Question. Oh, cool. Nice. Cool. Yeah. There is a movie. Yeah. Esmeralda saw it already. If you can wait on seeing the movie, wait. I want us to watch it together. But if after we finish reading this book, of course, I would like for us to watch the movie together. So if you've seen it, I don't want you to say anything about it. Just no spoilers. Okay. All right. So, excuse me. Are we ready? Characters change over time. That's what good readers do. And if that's going to be a problem, then we'll probably take the chair away. We're still a student. We're still in school. I still want you to I don't want you to spin on it. Okay. All right. Watch me as I model how I think about how Peter acted at the beginning of the story compared to how he is acting now. So please turn to page 88 of our book. Turn to page 88. You have a book there? You forgot your book? Okay. Oh, so you do have a book then? Okay. Then Okay, here we go. Page 88. I'm going to put the book on the camera just in case some of you forgot it. So here we go. Rocker and Roll, chapter 26. You can bet your life I went looking for Grandpa right after the boys left. But he was too clever for me. He hung around in the kitchen where Mom was preparing dinner. Then he played a few hands of casino with Jenny. By that time, Dad was home from the office. I didn't get to speak to him alone in private until after school the next day. And he was up in my room when I got home. He had his big toolbox up there, and he was sitting on my bed, carving a little piece of wood with his knife. "Hello, Pete," he said in a friendly way. "How was school today?" I put my knapsack down. "A lot you care," I said. I care, Grandpa said. "How did you know we were going to play Monopoly?" I asked him. "Aha!" he grinned. "A military secret." "I suppose you think that was funny," Grandpa chuckled. "Wasn't it? Here you guys get together to play a game and surprise!" Grandpa took the little piece of wood and knelt down next to my rocking chair. Then he tried to fit it into the hole in the back of the chair where the arm kept coming loose. "Just a touch too big," he said. "You're fixing my rocker?" I said. "Trying to," Grandpa said. He had a piece of sandpaper and was rubbing that little piece of wood like crazy. "Are you going to glue it again?" I asked. "Nope," said Grandpa. "Glue won't do it. I'm re-pegging it, Pete. You see this hole in the back of the arm? I took the old peg out. It used to fit in this other hole here in the back of the rocker." Grandpa tried to put the little piece of wood into place, but it wouldn't fit. "Just a little more sanding now," he said. "What about all that stuff from my Monopoly? From my Monopoly game? Can I have it back now?" "Not until," he said. "Until what?" "Until our little disagreement, or whatever you want to call it, is over." I looked at Grandpa, but he was busy sanding. I don't think that's fair, I said. Next page. It's not, he said. Let's just say your Monopoly pieces are prisoners of war. As soon as we make peace, back they come. I'll never do that. Not until you give up my room. Then they'll stay prisoners a long time, Grandpa said. Okay, boys and girls. So when the book said that Peter didn't think it was fair, Peter did not think it was fair that Grandpa was going to keep his Monopoly pieces as prisoners of war. That makes me think, remember what Pete said, all is fair in war. All is fair in love and war. That's what Peter said. Okay. Now he just said, wait, that's not fair. You're taking my Monopoly pieces. That's not fair. That's what he's saying. His mind is changing about war, isn't it? This makes me think that Peter is changing. In the beginning, Peter thought that fighting back was fair. Punch him in the face. Remember what his friends were telling him? Punch him in the face. Go to war. Strike, strike, strike. Remember that? Now, what did he just say? He said, now he's realizing that fighting isn't fair. Fighting is not fair because people get hurt. And his stuff now is gone because of it. Okay, let's keep reading. He took a pair of pliers and gripped them around the middle of the wooden peg. Then he stuck it into the armhole and kind of twisted it while pushing all of the time. It took a lot of effort, but Grandpa had big hands and big muscles, and it finally went into the hole about halfway. Got it, Grandpa said. Solid as a rock of Gibraltar. I gave you back your slippers, I said. It seems to me that I had to come up here and find those slippers myself, he said. I didn't see you hand them over, Pete. I thought about that while Grandpa put the pliers away and got out a hammer from his toolbox. The hammer had a rubber tip on the hitting part. I'm going to have to get you back for this, I said. The secret warrior will strike again. I know that, Grandpa said, grinning. That's the fun of it. I couldn't believe he said that. You think it's fun? Sure is, he answered. Oh, it took me a while to see it, and then I realized something. I had darn near lost my whole sense of humor. Hadn't had a good time for ages and ages. Not the last year, anyway. Imagine me slapping you like that. What a fool thing to do. He lined up the hole in the back of the rocker with the peg that was stuck in the arm. Now, watch this, Pete, old boy. Tap, tap, tap. That's all it took. 3 good taps with Grandpa's hammer, and the arm of the rocker was attached to the back. I sat right down in the rocker and tried it out. It was solid, just like Grandpa said. You're a good fixer, I said. Thanks. I kissed his forehead. I'm the best, Grandpa said. You know, Pete, I used to build whole houses from the bottom up. Still would if it wasn't for this bum leg. But I'm starting to feel good again. Got my old pizzazz back, I think. There's lots of things in this house that need fixing, and I'm the man for the job, kiddo. He gave me a hug then, and it felt good. But when he let me go, I looked at him and said, what do you think he's going to say? What do you think he's going to say, Esmeralda? Thank you for raising your hand, Amaris. That it's not fair still, that he's got his stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's see what he says. I looked at him. His grandpa just, Peter just gave his grandpa a kiss in the forehead. His grandpa just gave him a big hug. Now let's see what Peter says. When he let go, I looked at him and said, I'm going to get you for that Monopoly trick, you know. Sure you will, he said. Then he laughed. I can hardly wait. Chapter 27, Go Fish. I was thinking pretty hard about how I was going to get back at Grandpa. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of things I could do and a lot I'd never do, like burning his underwear, for instance. I didn't want to do something I'd be sorry for later. I thought about and then actually tried to steal his toolbox and hide it. But I found the thing was so big and heavy that just thinking about carrying it up 3 flights of stairs from the basement to hide it in the attic was enough to make me tired. Then I figured out what I'd do. But before I had a chance to do it, I spent a whole day with Grandpa I want to tell you about. On Friday night, Grandpa asked me if I'd ever gone fishing. I told him no. I hadn't. Dad was not a fisherman, and the only time I ever saw a live fish was in the big tank, at the fish store. Unless you could count the lobster I saw once in a restaurant, but he was cooked. Or the goldfish I had once for about a week until he died. Well, Grandpa said, I'm thinking about going out tomorrow to catch us a mess of flounder. I'd sure appreciate the company. I wasn't sure I'd like it. You won't go out in the ocean, will you? I asked. No, just a couple of 100 yards from shore in Cold Springs Harbor. Where's that? A short ride away, maybe 30 miles or so. We wouldn't run into anything big and dangerous, would we? Like what? Grandpa asked. Like Jaws. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Grandpa laughed. Well, now, he said, I never thought of that. I don't think we'll meet up with Jaws, Petey. Leastways, I never have up in all the times I fished out there. Okay, then, I said, feeling relieved. Grandpa told me we'd be getting up very early the next day. But when he told me to set my alarm for 4:30 in the morning, I couldn't believe it. That's the middle of the night, I said. We've got to get up pretty early to outsmart the flounder, he said. Did you ever get up out of bed at 4:30 in the morning? It's pitch black outside then. I washed and dressed and put on all of the clothing Grandpa said I'd need. Old jeans, t-shirt, a flannel shirt, an old sweater over that, and my hooded sweatshirt jacket to go on top. Grandpa was down in the kitchen working on a bunch of sandwiches to take along. Ham and bologna, he said. What about that okay with you? Fine, I said. No mustard on mine. Okay, he said. You should never take tuna or any other fish sandwiches when you go out fishing. Scares away the fish. How could that be? I asked. Don't know, said Grandpa, but I believe it. He put the bag of sandwiches into a vinyl zipper bag along with a thermos of cold milk for me. He had another big old thermos we'd fill with hot coffee on the way. If you're hungry, Grandpa told me, take some bread or crackers because we weren't going to eat breakfast for an hour or so. I told him I wasn't hungry, that I was so sleepy. We stepped out onto the porch into the black morning. I peeked into the milk box near the door. The milkman wasn't even here yet, and we're leaving, I said. Why do we have to go fishing so early, I asked. Won't the fish be there in the afternoon too? Tides, Grandpa said, as we went to Mom's car. Before I got into the front seat, I squinted up into the black sky. The stars looked like asterisks. Okay, boys and girls, go ahead and put your bookmarks in your book real quick so you can save your spot. Put your bookmarks in. And thank you so much for all of you that are here. For all of you that came to our meeting today. Let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times how many rows? 4 rows, 20 of us. Awesome job. Thank you for coming. We'll see you later. Bye, Gabriel. Bye, Halen. Oh, Halen's here. Never mind. Sorry. Halen's here. Bye, Stephanie. Bye, Abram. We'll see you on Thursday. Who else is here? Bye, Stephanie. Bye, Jason. Bye, Mason. Rogelio. Cowgirl. Oh, Rebecca. Bye, Rebecca. All right, boys and girls. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.